Wow. I can see Benga Adeyinka, the first GCON. Don't worry, we're promoting you to GCFR tonight. My brother, how are you? And I'm looking forward to our chat immediately after this program at 9 o'clock. Our big Egmont, I can see him already, is in the house. You see, that is an efficient officer, gentleman of the Federal Republic, the Area Kogun himself. I can see him already. We will just have a quick test to be sure that everything. Egmomi,
Báwo ṣe dáadáa ní Dele? How are you? I'm fine.
I just camera yín afẹ́rí yín.
Òun náà ni mo ṣe.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni sir. Aha, that looks good. That's a good headroom.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Àwọn ọmọ mi ńkọ́.
Àlàáfíà náà wà. Wọ́n wà pẹ̀lú àwọn grandchildren bẹ́ẹ̀ wọ́n da lérú lọ́hùn. Àwọn náà wọ́n wò lọ́dà side.
Wọ́n wò látọ̀ fantastic.
Because if we have to stay in the same place, we won't enjoy the interview. Because I have 3 of my grandkids there.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, ìkẹ́bà àwọn àdúrà tá à ń gbà náà nìyẹn.
They'll just be shouting. Yeah.
Good evening, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dele Momodu, and I'm reaching you live from Lagos, Nigeria, the heart of Africa. Yes, I'd like to add that this is the heart of Africa. It is happening here in Lagos. If you haven't been to Lagos, you haven't been anywhere. So I have the pleasure, the honor, the privilege of having our great man, our great brother. He's been everything to us, and we'll be talking about it tonight. The Area Kogun himself, the retired Assistant Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Alapini. He has so many titles, so many chieftaincy titles. In fact, it's impossible for anybody to remember them all, but he will tell us a few of them and why, how he came about those titles. You know, in Yoruba land in particular, we like to honor great men and women who have made us proud. And if there is one man who has made Nigeria proud and Africa proud, it's Olatunji Alapini. So you are welcome on the program. I hope my viewers can hear us very well. Please kindly confirm if you are hearing me and Uncle Tunji live, if you can hear. We're using all 4 platforms because the whole world must listen to Egbon. Yes, kindly confirm quickly so we can start. People are asking already, are you a spy? Uncle Tunji retired an assistant Inspector General of Police. That's a big title, trust me. That's a big title, but we'll be talking about it. So, you know, our usual protocol is to start with the music that we feel is relevant to your life. And tonight, we want to tell you, sir, that your life has been remarkably amazing. So we'll be starting with Amazing Grace.
Amazing.
That's the song.
Amazing Grace.
That's all. You should sing, sir. Amazing Grace.
That's my song every day. Amazing Grace, how sweet thou art.
That saved a wretch like me.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Wow. You're welcome.
That's a nice one.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, well, we have more.
It's my number one hymn. It's my number one song because this life is amazing. You sleep in the night, there's no guarantee you wake up in the morning. And when you wake up in the morning, you look at it and thank your stars and say, this is amazing. That it is me out of millions, billions of people in the whole world. It's not a cause, it is nothing. It is a fact of life. Some of us will sleep tonight, the whole of this world, and not wake up tomorrow. But that we can still sleep tonight and wake up tomorrow. It's amazing, and we should give gratitude to God.
So every day we wake up and we go to sleep, we must thank the Almighty. We shouldn't take it for granted.
We don't take it for granted. It has been my, and it has been my. I don't know where I'm going to sleep.
Wow.
Because when you wake up in the morning, you know where you've woken up. But throughout the whole day, anything can happen that will take you somewhere else entirely. So you won't even know where you're going to sleep. But where you're going to wake up, when you wake up, you will know, okay, I woke up here.
And you are not too different from the military. Anything can happen and you don't come back home that day.
No, it can happen. Anything can happen. Anytime, any day.
We'll be talking about your training as a police officer, but before we get to that, the first thing is we want you to introduce yourself to our viewers. Yes, everybody's been hearing about Momodu Alapini, an interview for a job. How will you describe yourself, sir?
Describe myself. I believe, Dele, you are the best position to describe me. But if we want to hear from the horse's mouth, Catholic home, and what we call Popo Aguda, and Brazilian quarters in Lagos, on the Lagos Island. Now, my late father, Anthony Bolaji Alapini, and my late mother, Fabiana Atinuke Alapini. Into family, I attended Holy Cross Catholic School, just in my area there. From Holy Cross, I went to St. Gregory's College. My mother was a teacher then, and so when I was in Form 2 and she was transferred to Abeokuta, so she took me to Abeokuta and registered me in St. Peter's College, another Catholic school in Abeokuta. That was where I finished. Norm that time, when you finish secondary school, university period is not like now. University is in September. So when you finish your work in November, December, between January and August, you are busy doing nothing. So the normal norm is everybody would not be so difficult to get job that time, any ministry. That was how I went straight and I started working in the High Court of Lagos State. It was wise in the High Court of Lagos State that I was seconded to the Armed Robbery Tribunal as a registrar. At the Armed Robbery Tribunal, that was the time of the Mighty Joe and the tribunal cases where you had a lot of military member. And during the course of trial, I happened to be noticing some criticism on lapses and the way police investigate cases. And I'm one of those also criticizing the police that they are not doing well. So the police member of the tribunal then, great man, one fatherly man, Mr. Obiegbe, he was deputy commissioner of police then, said, look, my son, you always criticizing police. Come and join police. I said, I will join. I will join. What is it? I will join. He didn't say anything. He waited until the cadence of the tribunal sittings. He said, call me, my son. He called me and said, this is the form. Fill it. I filled the form. I gave it to him. He went away with the form. Then that time, at Campbell there, just by the side of the Holy Cross Catholic Church. Okay, no do. I went for interview. With my braggadocio, I will do it better. That was how I got it. Propelled me to try to make sure that from day one, I tried to put what I can say for now.
So what had always fascinated me about you, and you remember I wrote a few things about you over the years, is the fact that you are one of the few, your background as a criminologist and what that entailed in the police.
Well, I'll give you my being studying criminology is another story. Planning normally, like I said, you will go into the ministry to work for some period before you go into the university. But I ended up not looking for admission. Either you travel abroad that time, either you go to the US, you go to the UK, or you go to Germany for studies. But I ended up staying about 2-3 years in that situation before I joined the force. And when I was in the force, it was like, okay, during the force, they will give us, after about 3-4 years, no sign of it. Then my sister, who is based in England now and studied in the University of Wales, College Cardiff, that you have to come and do MSc criminology. You can do BSc criminology, you can do MSc criminology. But if for MSc criminology, it's either they take somebody who has done BSc, thereafter you come and do MSc. Or you are in the service, or you are in the military, customs, you can come with that experience in service and go for the master's. But there is a proviso. They have 2 options. It's either you come and do the 9 months course, 9 months. If you do your 9 months course and you fail, you will not repeat. You will go and do the 1.5 years, the 18 months course. So it's going to be 9 months plus 18 months.
Wow.
But repeat your papers, maybe in another 1 month, you have that option there. But the risk in the 9 months course, that if you don't pass it, you cannot repeat it. You have to go and start the 18 months course. 9 months without doing my BSc, I went straight for my MSc. Wow. And I had my MSc in culinary university. Cardiff was not marked to be a university, part of University of Wales.
Wow. Technologies added to what you were doing as a police officer in Nigeria?
Well, the training is such that as a criminologist, we study penology, we study police work, we study the sit down. You can't come to me before. If you come to me as a criminologist and not as a criminal, but as an individual, and you want to say one or two things, by the time you make the first or two statements, I know where you are going to. I can guess. How come? Let me speak. I said, look, let me give you the end point of where you're going. This is the end result of where you're going. He said, yes. He said, how did I know? I said, look, there's no point. Save me the time. Sentiments, favor, or sympathy in respect of what you want to tell me. But I'm telling you, this is the end. This is the bottom line of where you're going. In most cases, 99% of those times, they say yes. One or two things, or if you make one statement or two, we know where you're going. We can easily understand and know the bottom line to save time, because in most cases, you don't. If you're a criminologist and you are trying to study the behavioral pattern of criminals, you may now have the second opportunity. It is that first opportunity that will give you a leadway in whatever you are doing.
The day I heard you were retiring from the police force, because I have come across so many police officers, I've had a lot of friends, brothers, exceptional. And I think I must have known you now for 3 decades minimum. And we've come a long way together. You've served in different arms of the police. People tend to go for this perception or misperception.
Since I've met you, like I always tell you, that Dele Momodu. Wow. No matter what you tell me, there are some individuals, they will tell you something, you won't doubt that individual. You just like children, you have children. Some children will tell you certain things. Because Momo, I know what you can do, I know what you cannot do. Do you understand? So when you look at we met, every individual is the first impression that counts as far as I'm concerned. We've met over the years, and
if people are writing it on the screen.
as area commander in Ife. And as at that time, that was the time we were having a lot of luta, where no policeman can enter there. And I will quell out during the day. In the evening, I will still come and play with the students. Everything. The following day, I will come back out again, block them. Jingo, Professor Jingo, Dr. Fashion, no, and the whole gang there, Bigfoot, Wale Omole. Get off your ass and do some things. Always get in control until he was chopped out and brought in Wale Omole, I think, something if I can remember that time. Yes. And that time, my life cut across. As I am older than you are my friend. I say, Kabiyesi said, you should come to the palace now. When we go there, the next thing we will just say, Omeku, no, nothing. I just said, let us just sit down. Who are older than I am. I have friends who are younger than I am. And in service, I am true to my friends, and my friends are true to me. My friends know where I am. People I have relationship with, in terms of whether in the cost, you take it away with you. It's been the legacy. It's been what I've been tapping on all my life since I left service.
Well,
so if you look at
with the Nigeria police, a lot of people, if they
them, I won't blame them. The Nigeria police force has gone through a lot of changes that should be professional, changes that should be set. When we retired, we had a lot of experts in our year set. The most foremost ordnance expert was one of our year sets. We were all trained in various fields, and by coincidence, because we have to go a certain period, we have to go. That is the regulation. But some of these people call them back to be lecturing in the college to assist and bring some of the others coming up. But I think maybe the force believes that you've had your time, go. Let us have our time. So we now have in the process, by the time they want to appoint a new IG, people up having rank without experience. Experience are garnered and gathered on the field. You cannot just pick up somebody and say you put a rank on his shoulder, because rank, just like you say, the cloak does not make the monk. You cannot say because you are wearing the cloak of a monk that you're a monk. No. You must have trained. You must be a monk to be inside that club. So to be able to run and operate the system and the police, the dynamism we have in the Nigeria police force and in an environment now, we need to have people who are experienced, who will be able to champion, who will understand. Like if you watch, what do you call it? Presently, I don't know how many people of our viewers are watching the CNN. Now, you see the crisis generated by the police in action. They have all the lines, all the level of lines. There are some who are in front. There are some who are in the middle. There are some who are at the back. If they are coming to arrest some of these people, you will notice somebody is coming to arrest, it's always coming from the back. You find those people flanking in front with shield and everything, they are just there. And once they arrest, they take him behind the cordon immediately. But or events, they must have been briefed and know what they have to do. A week or 2 weeks ago, when they started this Nicholas Hospital, Reddington Hospital, and everything, said they were stopped and said it was directive from above that they stays in one of the estates further in Beachland Estate, whatever estate in Lekki, was going to there is obeying instruction given to him. Put a call through up to the top echelon in the state. They said they couldn't do anything. I was shocked. And I had to do one or two things. Within an hour, the IG had to rescind that order. Then I said to myself, why was it not talked about in the first place? The implication of carrying out the policemen we have on our road. Here, you notice abroad, now, if you're watching CNN and whatever it is that you monitoring this riot in the US, a lot of the protesters are always going it is their right. It is their right to protest. The policemen have been trained from day one. They know that. But when we're talking about training some of our men, how far have they been trained? Have the policemen been trained as service to the community or as an instrument of oppression?
Instrument of oppression.
So if you've been trained as an instrument of oppression, anything that comes between you and what you want to do is an enemy. So if I come before you, you can't go in the front of, it's only few unless you have some of these senior police officers on ground. Riot somewhere and you are filming, you carry your camera and be taking policeman here. I'm sorry to say, you are risking not your life, you are risking yourself trying to do that. It is not the fault of the policeman. He has not been trained to be able to appreciate what you are doing. So I think who are serving you and I on the street.
But, sir, don't you think that there is too much illiteracy because of the so-called federal character, a situation where you just want to fill up the space rather than looking for quality, everything would fall apart.
Well, what I think the federal character has destroyed the system, and we now have mediocres where somebody will say we have 36 states of the federation and FCT, Abuja. Okay, for the whole federation, we want to, let's say 370, say 10-10, 37 states, 370 people, 10 from each state to be recruited. These are the criteria. These are the criteria, minimum criteria for us to be able to maintain it. So for every 10 you bring from your state, all the 10 must have this criteria. You'll discover some other states will not be able to meet that criteria.
That quota.
And they will, that quota, and they will be complaining, and the criteria, and they'll be complaining that, no, you cannot, we're entitled to not qualified to be.
Powerful.
So when you look at things like that, it saddens.
And again, when you want to appoint an inspector general of police and you sack all the AIGs, all the DIGs, you have trained.
You have trained
money. How does that make you feel? You just wake up just because they want to pick one man. Then everybody at the level of AIG, everybody at the level of DIG, you must go.
DIG must go.
How do you waste resources like that?
And when we say waste resources, I mean waste resources, because I went to the highest institute in Nigeria, National Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies, in Kuru, Jos. I'm a member of the National Institute. Part of that training, when you are there, besides the academic work, you have to go and see what is the best thing happening in 2 states in Nigeria. What is the best happening in 1 country in Africa? What is the best happening in 1 country in the world, the entire world? I traveled, I was in Kano, and I saw Haja in Bayelsa. And I was wondering, why are people not harnessing these potentials? I went to Botswana. In Botswana, Dele, from the time we started this interview, from the moment we started this interview, I saw a cow, a live cow, turned into corned beef inside tin.
Wow. Production
in Botswana. So I start wondering, this is not beyond my country. This is not beyond us. So if you, then after that, we went to Venezuela, Quito. When Venezuela, in fact, it was a few years after that Venezuela collapsed. But we saw the best of Venezuela. Okay, by the time we finished that, what we're talking about, in 2007, but 2 years after, I retired because I was due. I've served 35 years. I have to go.
By force.
We have an option, but whether you like it or not, you must go. But the situation is such that we recommended that we people like me, I'm not interested. I'm not a sit down. Said we recommended, and there was a report by the one retired AIG. There was one commission where they said, what do we do to be able to sustain and maintain the efficiency in the police force? That committee, Damadami committee, recommended that harness, bring them to be training in that it is all most of these things, the experience you garner on the field is when you carry the experience of others with what you experience on the field, you can see how things are. But I can't imagine them thinking of getting retired. I am one of those who have the benefit of being a where we train raw recruits, people who wants to be police. We train them to be policemen. I've also been opportune to be commandant of Police Staff College in Jos, where officers and policemen who are already in service are being retrained. I've been commandant in those places. And I've seen that what with the society we are in now. Of training, getting experts to train them, looking for still competent hands, either retired officers. I think until that is done, we'll continue to have this problem that we are talking about in Nigeria Police Force. Yeah. The police force joined the police force. Why do you want to join the police force? So that we continue to monitor and mentor you. Purpose in the police force is not for the professional job. We have people who are encouraging them like that. You start wondering.
Sir, once upon a time, you were in Lagos.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And I remember you took me on a police helicopter and we were flying around Lagos, and you are able to detect crime, just like they do in Britain. That's very common. You see the police, they take off if there is a crime scene.
Well, yeah, that was true. Wasn't only you, our common friend, BAT, Bola
Tinubu, yes.
When he was governor, you know how close three of us are. And the same way I took you, because that time it wasn't the era of. I took you around. When we were discussing, he said, how do we map out? I said, look, to map out this country is not hard. In fact, it was part of that Upper-B link bridge, all those link bridges you are seeing all over. When I took Governor of Lagos State then, Tinubu Jagaban, around. When I took you around, I said, look, you can easily communicate to people on the ground that what is causing the bottleneck is not here. Let somebody go over there. There's a trailer that is broken down. Go and remove it so that traffic can flow. Because from up there, you will see a lot of things. And we try to encourage the police and the members of the government as at that time. Fortunately, Lagos benefited a lot. Was commissioner of police in Lagos State, and were very close friends. And that was the time of the convoy robberies, where they will steal a lot of vehicles in Lagos and take them over to the border. Once the thing happens like this, Okere will come in. Tunji will go up and be monitoring their movement. So before they even get to, at times, Ota, Idiroko, we have blocked the way. So by the time we give them all those encumbrances, we're able to contain and maintain that tempo with him. And I was hoping all these things should be replicated all over the Federation. If this country can afford it, it is not beyond what we cannot do, what cannot be done. So you start wondering that if I know that this is right, this is the appropriate way, and somebody is not towing that line, you start wondering, is there something wrong? The same thing when I took Badagry between Festac on the coastline, Atlantic, how people were excavating and removing stand and causing problems. And I'm sure most of those things contributed to his success as governor of Lagos State. Because what he saw, when he got down, he was jotting down. And by the time he got back, and I think he implemented a lot of things that has been helpful to Lagos State.
Your Aburo Bengadeyinka says, what can be done to re-engineer the Nigerian police? Before you answer that, I want you to speak about the welfare, because I don't think the incentives are good enough for the Nigerian police. And that is why we all used to abuse them when they beg for money. But it got to a stage where I don't even wait for them to the problem of incentives and welfare, even insurance.
You see, when you're talking about, there is an insurance. There is a standard insurance for members of the Nigerian Police Force. It's something that has to be sustained. And that is the problem we're having with the police force. When we're saying sustained, have you noticed that all along in the crisis in the US, notwithstanding that they are damaging all their vehicles or the police vehicles and things like that, you cannot say by the following day you will not see policemen on the road. They will come there. Police know that the government, they know that these are some of the sacrifices they have to pay to be able to run a virile police force. So when we're talking about incentives, you have an officer, you post him on, let's take the Lekki Express Road. There's basically nowhere, no junction, no noticeable junction that you now find RRX vehicle in Lagos State. I expect that to be replicated all over the Federation. But what we have to look at, these people, these vehicles at that junction, are they being cared for? The personnel, are they being catered for? That, okay, you're on duty in the morning, you are sitting there in the vehicle, you are not supposed to leave here because you are supposed to be static. So that if there is any crisis, they can get you from there and move you out. Is there anybody providing water, meal, packaging, appreciate the fact so that they will not leave the place? Because you cannot stay in a place
for 24 hours.
For 24 hours. So there must be somebody going around to say, okay, you people here on the ground, this is for morning, somebody will come and give them water, somebody will come and give them maybe dry ration, maybe food pack, maybe make an arrangement. They go around. It was like that. Visit the person and make sure about the welfare. But here, they abandon them. That is why you find some of the policemen are more going with Otumba, Ambassador Dele Momodu with his Rolls Royce, so that they go and beg the police to give them some policemen, so that, because Dele Momodu will be giving them some.
In fact, sorry, sir, that's where I was going. That don't you also feel bad about the inferiorization? I want to use a big word. We've made the police very inferior in Nigeria, that they've lost self-confidence and even self-worth. You see them, you pity them. You know, once upon a time when you saw the police, you will respect them and you want to obey their instruction. But today, you just see the police, you know, the man himself has lost hope. He's just there, just marking time. Today, in Nigeria, you see more military men on the street. In fact, a lot of things that we're using the military to do today should never happen in a civilian regime.
At all. Should never happen. Because you start wondering, as far as I'm concerned, I still take it as, I don't want to understand the rationale behind the application of granting them any reason why people who are not hitherto entitled to policemen are moving about with escorts all over the place, with policemen that should be guarding members of the public. You are attaching to individuals because of what? If they need to have private security guards, we're fortunate. Our country allows all these private security guards. That's why you have a lot of all these eminent police bodyguards all over at party functions. Let them go and pick up all those ones. But why you have to deplete the manpower of the Nigerian policemen to police force to service those individuals who are not hitherto entitled to, just because they are nobody. As far as I'm concerned, they are nobody. The only time they can be somebody is when people see them as with policemen. Dele Momodu, you can walk into any place without policeman following you. People will know you. You are somebody. Some of them, with whatever the money they have, they are nobody. But because our society is such that by the time they see a policeman behind somebody who is coming with a Rolls Royce, with a Mercedes, with a Range Rover, people will wonder, this one a big man. It's not a big man. It's a useless man, as far as I'm concerned. It's a useless man. It's a hopeless man. Because if you are not hopeless, it's a hopeless man. It's a useless man. Because if you think if you are worth your salt,
you need police for decoration.
You need police for decoration. Look, I am entitled. Since I retired, my entitlement in retirement, I'm supposed to have a PA, which should be an inspector. I'm supposed to have an orderly. I'm supposed to have 24-hour police guards. I'm supposed to have police driver. I don't want.
Wow.
There's no will not know me. I don't know to embellish my presence with all those things. All those people are embellishing their presence with all those accoutrements of police paraphernalia because they are nobody. That's
inside
the only
church,
way.
inside party,
inside church, carrying bag. They want to do. They will carry telephone. By the time they finish with telephone, when they make the telephone, they do like this and give telephone to the policeman behind to hold. You cannot hold your phone. You cannot hold your wallet. So start wondering what kind of useless individuals are these people.
Egboti. Now, to Benga's question, how do we re-engineer? How do we go back to those good old days? Because there must be a way forward. And I know that you are very passionate about the police, and I know you reach out to every IG. Some of them were your junior in service. So you try to make sure they succeed. Do they listen to you when you try to advise them?
Well, one thing you have to understand, we have served, we have left service. we have contributions to make. Just like Baba Sanjo said when he was president, he said, why are you not listening to
we have problem with your internet, sir. Oh, wow. And this is very key. Sir, your internet. Oh, and it's been perfect so far. I said your internet. Well,
hello?
no,
Dele?
you are the one disappearing, sir.
It's
your internet.
Okay. So
yes,
the thing is,
internet, sir. Yes.
Okay. When somebody said, Baba, you don't take some of your advisors will come and give you advice. You don't even take the advice. Say, what? Some of who? You say advisors. What did you call them? You say advisors. What are they giving me? Advice. Am I compelled to take advice? I said no. If they advise me, if I look at the advice, if it is worthy, I will utilize it. If it is not worthy, I will discard. So the same thing with the people on ground. We have served our purpose. We have served the Nigeria Police Force. We are outside as the eyes and the ears of those serving now. If we see things wrong and we think we can advise them, we do. We tell them. Last week, Monday or Tuesday, I called the AIG in Abuja. I've not spoken to him this year. I just called him and said, how are you, sir? How are you, sir? He said, no, it's because of this corona. When I come to Lagos, I'll come. I said, look, I want to see you to tell you one or two. He said, well, once we finish all this corona, I will invite you, or when I come to Lagos, we'll talk. I said, there are certain things I want to discuss with you as to move force myself on you. If I go to Abuja to come and advise him and he does not want to see me, what do I do? So the thing is, in most of these things, we have suggested to them. You have a lot of senior, agile, retired officers who are still bubbling with wisdom and ideas, who can still offer services to the police force. They are not going to beg the police to come and engage them to offer those services. Because if you call a serving officer trying to advise him on what is going on, maybe I decide to call Commissioner of Police in Lagos and say, CP Lagos, this is what I'm saying in South. So, Oga, don't worry, sir, we're on top of the situation. Is that not another way of saying shut up your mouth? You say, I understand something like this is happening, so places and everything. And Oga, don't worry, sir. We heard about it, sir, and everything, sir. We'll work on. We'll look at that one. They've started again.
God, but I needed you to speak. One of the things that has impressed me most about you is that despite the challenges with the Nigerian police, you didn't discourage